There are places in this world where the trees whisper ancient secrets, and the wilderness hides more than just shadows. Deep within the forests of North America, people have claimed to see something massive, mysterious, and just out of reach. It's been called many names: Sasquatch, Yeti, the wild man, but most know it as Bigfoot. For centuries, stories have surfaced about an enormous, ape-like creature roaming the woods, leaving behind only enormous footprints and haunting encounters. Some say it's a legend, a figment of the imagination. Others believe it's something more, something ancient, something real. Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of Bigfoot. From ancient Native American lore to modern-day sightings and unexplained encounters, we'll explore the evidence, the myths, and the chilling tales that make Bigfoot one of the most enduring mysteries of our time. So sit back, and let's unravel the mystery of Bigfoot, the legendary guardian of the forest. A long-lost guardian of the forests. Our story begins long before settlers brought civilization to the rugged wilderness of North America. The forests then were vast and untouched, stretching endlessly into the horizon, a wild, living world in itself. Among the many creatures believed to inhabit these lands was the Sasquatch, a name derived from the St's people of British Columbia, meaning wild man of the woods. For the indigenous peoples, Sasquatch was not merely a creature but a symbol. He was both a physical and spiritual presence in the forest, a giant protector who maintained the delicate balance of nature. The Tlingit people of Alaska believed he was a shapeshifter, able to disappear into the mist at will. Others described him as a lost, ancient being who walked the earth long before humans, possibly a remnant of a time forgotten by all but the oldest elders. The tribes didn't fear him, though. In fact, some believed he was a protector of the land, ensuring that humans respected nature. The Sasquatch was often spoken of in hushed tones, not out of fear, but out of reverence, for the natives believed that to speak his name too loudly might summon him from the shadows. First European encounters, fear in the wilderness. The peaceful image of Sasquatch began to shift when European settlers entered these forests. Unlike the native peoples, the newcomers were unfamiliar with the land, and their imaginations ran wild in the face of the unexplained. One of the first recorded encounters came from David Thompson, the British-Canadian explorer who, in 1811, was following an expedition route through the wilderness. On a crisp morning, Thompson and his men stumbled upon an eerie sight: giant, human-like footprints, each spanning a staggering 14 inches long. These footprints, larger than any human could possibly leave, set the tone for what would be centuries of sightings and speculation. As settlers pushed deeper into the forests, they began to hear stories, rumors of a wild man living in the woods. They dismissed the native tales of Sasquatch as mere superstition, but when these same settlers started hearing heavy footsteps trailing them, or found trees snapped in half with unnatural force, fear began to spread. Bigfoot's physical description: the monster emerges. Descriptions of Bigfoot have always remained remarkably consistent. Witnesses from different time periods and places all describe a similar creature, tall, often 7 to 10 feet in height, covered in thick, dark fur that ranges from black to reddish-brown. Its face, though human-like, is more primitive, with deep-set eyes, a flat nose, and a wide, ape-like mouth. Bigfoot's massive feet, from which it earns its name, measure anywhere between 15 to 24 inches long. But it's not just his size that terrifies those who encounter him. Bigfoot is said to possess unnatural strength, able to uproot trees, toss boulders, and move through dense underbrush without a sound. His movements are described as smooth and fast, almost too fast for something of his size. And yet, despite his strength, he is elusive, disappearing into the forest with the grace of a ghost. The Patterson-Gimlin film, Evidence or Hoax. Then came October 20th, 1967, a day that would change the legend forever. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin were riding through the rugged forest near Bluff Creek, California, hoping to catch a glimpse of the creature they had heard so much about. What they captured on film would become one of the most famous and debated pieces of footage in cryptozoology. The grainy, shaky footage shows a large, ape-like figure walking upright along the riverbank. Its muscular frame, broad shoulders, and long arms are clearly visible, but what's most haunting is the moment the creature turns its head to look directly at the camera. Those who believe the footage is real point to the way the muscles move beneath the fur, the natural gait, and the creature's proportions, arguing that no human in a costume could recreate it so perfectly. Skeptics, of course, argue that the film is nothing more than a clever hoax, claiming that the figure is simply a man in an ape suit. But to this day, no one has been able to conclusively debunk or prove the authenticity of the Patterson-Gimlin film, leaving it as one of the most tantalizing pieces of evidence in Bigfoot lore. Real-life encounters, chilling accounts. Some of the most compelling evidence for Bigfoot's existence comes from the people who claim to have come face-to-face with the creature. Let's travel back to the early 1900s, to the case of Albert Ostman, a prospector working in British Columbia. According to Ostman, while camping alone in the wilderness, he was suddenly snatched from his sleeping bag and carried off by a massive, hairy creature. He described how the Sasquatch took him to a remote location where a family of these creatures kept him for several days. Eventually, Ostman escaped, but his story was so outlandish that it was met with skepticism, though he never wavered from his tale. Another terrifying encounter took place in 1924, in the dense forests of Washington state near Mount St. Helens. A group of miners reported being attacked by what they described as multiple Bigfoot-like creatures. These creatures, they said, hurled rocks at their cabin, trying to break in through the doors and windows. The men shot at the creatures, and by morning, they had vanished. To this day, this event is referred to as the Ape Canyon Incident, a terrifying moment that still gives locals pause. Hoaxes and skepticism, a tale of doubt. Not all stories about Bigfoot are genuine, however. The legend has been marred by numerous hoaxes, which have added both to the mystery and the skepticism surrounding the creature. In the 1950s, pranksters used wooden feet to create fake footprints, leading search parties on wild goose chases through the woods. And in 2008, two men in Georgia claimed to have found a frozen Bigfoot body, only for it to be revealed as a rubber suit encased in ice. These hoaxes have led many to dismiss Bigfoot as nothing more than folklore or an elaborate joke. Skeptics argue that in this age of smartphones, drones, and constant surveillance, it's hard to believe that a creature as large as Bigfoot could remain hidden. They point out the lack of physical evidence, no bones, no clear photos, no DNA samples. Scientific theories, could Bigfoot be real? Despite the skepticism, some scientists continue to explore the possibility that Bigfoot could be real. One prevailing theory is that Bigfoot could be a descendant of Gigantopithecus, a massive ape that lived in Asia during the Pleistocene epoch, over 100,000 years ago. Fossils show that Gigantopithecus stood nearly 10 feet tall and weighed over 1,000 pounds. Could it be possible that some members of this species crossed the land bridge from Asia into North America and survived, evolving into the creature we now call Bigfoot? Other researchers proposed that Bigfoot could be an undiscovered species of hominid, a close relative of humans that has adapted to live in the remote, uncharted forests of North America. Given the vast, unexplored regions of the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, and the Canadian wilderness, they argue that it's not impossible for such a creature to remain undetected by modern science. The unsolved mystery, what's next for Bigfoot? As the legend of Bigfoot continues to grow, the mystery remains unsolved. Are the forests of North America truly home to a giant, elusive creature? Or is Bigfoot a symbol of something deeper, our fear of the unknown, our connection to the wilderness, or perhaps even a reflection of ourselves, lurking in the shadows of our own imagination? One thing is for certain, whether you believe in Bigfoot or not, the story has become a part of our cultural fabric. For over 2 centuries, Bigfoot sightings have come and gone, with no clear answers, but the intrigue never fades. Perhaps it's the mystery itself that keeps the legend alive. The idea that somewhere, out there in the vast and darkened woods, an ancient creature could still roam is enough to stir something primal in all of us. A living legend, unfinished, the stories yet to be told. And so, as we stand at the edge of the forest, looking into the dense underbrush, we are left to wonder, what is real, and what is simply the human need for legends. For as long as the wilderness has secrets to hide, Bigfoot will live on in stories told by the flickering light of campfires and in the whispers that pass between hikers who feel they're not alone. The truth may forever be shrouded in the mists of the mountains, the sounds of footsteps echoing through the trees, and the occasional rustle in the brush that makes your heart race just a little bit faster. Because, after all, the most haunting mysteries are those we can never quite explain. Bigfoot's legend has transcended folklore and become an icon of pop culture. He has appeared in movies, television shows, and even commercials. His image has been used in everything from beef jerky ads to children's cartoons, and the creature has been a staple of cryptozoology conferences and documentaries for decades. In fact, entire communities of Bigfoot enthusiasts have sprung up, with people dedicating their lives to proving that the creature is real. Bigfoot hunters roam the forests armed with cameras and thermal imaging devices, while researchers attempt to collect DNA samples from mysterious hair and fecal matter found in the woods. As we close this chapter on the tale of Bigfoot, we're left with the same question that has echoed through the ages: what if?